you gotta know what love really means in order to be in a relationship with someone. And in a relationship, you trust that person. You're supposed to trust that person. And when they mess up and you didn't, or whatever, the first time, you shouldn't forgive them because you're so sure that you're never going to screw up just like they did. Truth is, it's in our human nature to screw up. It's normal. It's who we are. We're always going to be screwing up. And if you really love someone, you got to forgive them when they screw up. You got to love them no matter what. You got to love them through the good and the bad. Through the bad. If you say that and then that person screws up and then you don't forgive them and you just get a divorce or whatever, then you lied from the beginning. That's not love. Lying isn't love. You gotta be honest. Honesty is the best policy. Well, it's true. When people lie to you, or even if you lie to someone to protect them because you think that you're protecting them, or just because you don't want to hurt them, or you're afraid they won't forgive you because you screwed up or something, you know, the truth will always find you. It will always be revealed. No matter what you think. I mean, some things aren't meant to be said at all, or just meant to stay with you. But when you screw up but you're afraid that person's not going to forgive you if you tell them the truth, that's not right. You got to tell them the truth anyways. Because if you tell the truth right away, no matter how scary or hard it is to do, it always goes better for you in the end. Because you were honest. And that's a good relationship. I got in a relationship where I was being lied to the whole time. And I kept convincing myself that it was real, that the things that this guy was saying was true. But I was wrong. But that also doesn't mean that you have to give up on relationships. Just because you're scared that you're going to get hurt again. Because you never know. You really never know who you can trust unless, I mean, like I said, because everyone screws up. You never know who your real friends are until they, repeatedly screw you over or whatever, lie to you or something. But you gotta keep getting back up. And you gotta know who you're getting back up for, too. Like, I was born into a Christian family. My dad's a pastor. And that's been hard on me because we have this image that we're supposed to live up to, that this certain light that people look at you and they expect perfection or something, and just because we're pastors' kids, but nobody is perfect, and no matter how hard we try to be perfect, we can't do it. Not as long as we're in this world. Because this world is full of temptations and just terrible things. And it seems like it's gotten worse. But we have to We have to keep going. And all through those hard times, like relationships, people who just lie and lie to you and try to convince you of one thing, but they were lying to you, and you were lying to yourself the whole time. Then you just end up with a really pieces of your heart all over the place, just ripped out, broken, messed up, and you turn into some crazy person. I don't know, but anyways, we can't just sit around being angry all the time and thinking about our problems and our past. We have to move forward. We have to make something of our life, make this life better. Put yourself in your own little perfect world mindset, but always be thinking positively, because you're not going to get through life always thinking about the past and who's hurt you. You gotta stand up for yourself, and you gotta keep going, no matter how hard it gets, because it's not gonna get easy. It's just gonna get harder, honestly. And the sooner we realize that, the sooner you'll be okay. I've had a lot of people hurt me in my life, especially recently. But I'm not going to let that hold me back. I mean, everyone has different opinions and everything. And I'm kind of a loner sometimes, because I feel like nobody really pays attention to me sometimes, but that's just, ridiculous. I call myself invisible, like I have a superpower. I mean, it comes in handy when, those times where you say something stupid and you wish you could take it back, and you're like, oh, did I say that out loud? And then you look up and you realize nobody was actually listening to you anyways. So you're like, phew, that's a relief. And so moments like that, it's good, but other moments where you really wish somebody was actually listening to what you had to say, instead of you having to only listen to them all the time. They rant about their problems, and you listen. You get really good at listening, but they never let you talk about how you feel. So it gets bottled up inside, and then eventually you go to bed and you start thinking about it, or you take a shower because you think you're always thinking about them in the shower. And then you cry and it just gets to you. And you have this explosion of emotions, and you don't know what to do with them. And you can't talk to somebody because nobody will listen to you, and you just didn't have any friends to begin with. Or all the friends that you thought you had weren't real friends. But even with that, you gotta keep going. And God will give you that right friend. But you have to you can't sit back and you can't blame God. You can blame God all the time, but it's not his fault. The moment we doubt God, I've realized that the moment you doubt God, even for a tiny little second, is when you're going to screw up. And then as soon as you screw up, you're like, what the heck happened? And God, why weren't you there for me at that point? Well, because you doubted me, Aaliyah, or because you doubted that I was there for you before you went and did that thing, or whatever. Or you did something stupid that you knew you weren't supposed to do, and then you blame God for the trouble you got in for it later. And really, it's your own dang fault. It's human nature. It's the devil getting in your head. But as long as we're thinking Jesus every step of the way, as long as we know in our hearts that He's there for us. He's got our backs through everything. He's not going to let us down. He's not going to let you fall. And when you fall, He'll get you right back up again. He'll give you a hand to grab, and you got to keep grabbing His hand and getting back up. No matter, even when you think about, it's not going to get any better. It's going to keep being like this. You got to still get up. You got to keep moving. Don't sit around having suicidal thoughts because you feel like you just need to get out of this world. Well, we deserve it. We deserve the pain that we get. Because our pain doesn't compare to the pain that Jesus went through for us. He took it away. We could be feeling like even worse, and we could even just go straight to hell if it weren't for Jesus. But He stepped up, and He cares so much. And He got on that cross, and He said, I love you guys. You guys are idiots, but I love you. And I'm going to save you from your sin. I'm going to save you from this madness. And then He got hit, bruised, crushed for our iniquities, and bruised for our iniquities, crushed for our transgressions. It's crazy when you think about it. There's so many details. And that's why people have a hard time believing that Jesus did save us. Because He got on that cross. Like, people are like, what? A guy just went on the cross and died for our mistakes, like, for our stupidity? What? That doesn't seem real. Like, I guess it's because people, they watch, like, movies about superheroes all the time, but they don't actually believe that we could possibly have a superhero in this world, too. That we actually have one. But He already saved us all. Like, He isn't, just because He doesn't fly around in the sky and pull kitties out of trees or whatever, just because we can't see Him doesn't mean what He says is a lie. Because it's not. And if people would just read their Bibles, they'd know this. Honestly, people talking about rated R movies and rated R books or whatever. You know what? The Bible is rated R too. If you read in some books like Songs of Solomon, it's pretty crazy stuff. It's ridiculous. But it's the Bible. It's our big book of directions for life. I mean, people just push God away and push Him away, but they really don't know what they're doing. They don't realize that they are throwing their lives away. They're killing themselves every time they curse God out, or they say, like, I'm not going to pay attention to you. They're just slowly killing themselves. But they don't know because they don't see the big picture. They don't see it all. They don't pay attention to all little details. Like, oh, we evolved from monkeys. Yeah, whatever. Where the flip did the monkey come from then? I mean, it's really, if you take a second to think about it, you'll realize how dumb you really are. Like, we humans we're idiots, and we take things for granted, and we don't think about things enough. We don't think about things before we say them. We just say them, and we hurt people. Go out and we judge people, but that does not make us any better than them. And we fight. We fight each other. But it really doesn't make us any better. Because we fight back. People hurt us, and then we immediately think, oh, vengeance is mine, or I'm going to get revenge on that person. But it's pretty much the same as they did to you. It doesn't make you look like a good person either. Well, that's all I have to say for now. I just ask you guys to think about it. Like, even if not a lot of people see this video, I needed to say those things. So, watch it. I don't know.